Page 135, Trumpet Voluntary. On page 134, they're introducing you to the G7 chord. Now, let's be nice about this. You look at it and think, what? Now, I know. There's 4 notes in that, not 3. 4 notes in this because of the 7th being added on. Let's just relax. See, I have a lot of different viewers on these videos, and some viewers just want the quick and easy, give me this, and that. Other viewers want to really understand what's going on. So I have to tell you what's really going on, and the rest of you are going, no, it's too much talking. Don't talk so much. Sorry, I'm going to talk. Remember a chord. It's every other note. We've been using triads, 3-note chords. And the bottom note tells you what the name of the chord is when it's every other note. Because I can rearrange this. I can put the C on top. But the bottom note doesn't tell you the name of the chord anymore because it's not every other note. I got 2 notes in here. Or I can put that on top. But again, the bottom note doesn't tell me the name of the chord because I got 2 notes here. It's only when it's every other note that the bottom note tells you the name of the chord. Okay, that's a C chord. Well, if I do a G chord, same difference, but the bottom note's G here. It could be anywhere, I don't know. Let's go here. That is a G chord. Keep in mind, in any scale, every note in the scale, there's 7 of them, they're numbered 1 through 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. A chord built on that step is that number for that key signature. For the key of C, a C chord is the 1 chord, or the 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 chord, 7 chord, 1 chord. They all have numbers. In the music, you'll see them sometimes because the numbers are under the staff and they're in Roman numerals. See, we use so many numbers in music, you got to figure out something. They use Roman numerals for the name of the chord. If you look at Trumpet Voluntary, it's under the staff. You see the Roman numerals? Well, that's what it is. It's telling you the number of the chord. They could have left out the notes and just given you the number, and you would know to play those notes. You wouldn't know where to play them. You have to figure out where do they sound best, and you play them there. But the point is, a 1 chord is a C chord in the key of C major. If it were some other key, there'd be a different number. Here. Well, a G chord is here, and that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is a 5 chord in the key of C major. Okay. Now, I'm going to take the G chord, and I'm going to add another note. Every other note. I got 4 notes. And the interval between the bottom and top note in that chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is a 7th. So it's called a G7. A G7 chord. That's the whole thing. It's got 4 notes in it. Now, you don't have to use it in this arrangement. I could put the G on top. I could put the B on top. I could put the D on top. However, it doesn't matter. It's whatever the music. There's other things go into, you'll get into voice leading and all this stuff as to which arrangement, we call these inversions, which inversion of the chord you're going to use when. Let's just keep it simple now. It's too late for that, I suppose, but here. This is the root position. When it's every other note, it's root position. Root position, all of these are root position. When it's the every other note, the bottom note identifies the chord, it's called root position. Okay, I've said that twice. I don't know. 7th, that is the root position of the 7th chord. And then that's first inversion, second inversion, third inversion, blah, blah, blah. Okay. We don't need to use every note in a chord. In a 7th chord, you need the top and bottom. You need those 2. We've already had these 2 before. You've seen these in previous pieces where it did this. You didn't know it, you were playing a G7 chord. Okay. So here, But a lot of times we will use one or other of the middle notes. So we still get three, we get a triad. We just, whichever, this one or this one. And most of the time, we will leave out the D. We'll get, and then we'll put the B on the bottom. So it's in this arrangement. The idea is I'm not moving my hands around so much. I can go from a C chord to a G7 chord in that arrangement without moving my hand. Little finger came down. And that's what they're doing here. And you'll get this a lot. This pattern is all over the place. In the right hand, the thumb would come down for it. That's really what we're doing. All of that mess to tell you to go from here to here to here. Congratulations. They show at the bottom of the page of 134, you have here, here. We didn't use the middle note. But then you do that. I did the other. Okay. If you have questions on this, let me know. But I can get a lot deeper into this. I don't want to. This is enough for now. But we're going to be using these chords quite a bit. And so we need to get them drilled in. This is C major chords because we got to get these same kind of chords. The one chord and the 5-7 chord. It's called a 5-7 because we've added the 7th, because that's the 5 chord. And when we add the 7th, it's a 5-7 chord. It's a V7. You see it in the second measure of Trumpet Voluntary? Yeah. We're going to get these in the other key signatures, so let's get this down first. Now, so much for that mess over there on page 134. If you have questions, let me know. Be polite. Let's go to 135 and talk about this trumpet thing. I look it over, it's 4 lines long or a page long. That doesn't mean a page is automatically 4 lines long. It's just the way it's printed. It just turns out it's a page long because they got stuff at the bottom in the way. Treble and bass clef, key is C major, no sharps or flats, 4/4 time signature. I see half notes, dotted half notes, quarter notes, and whole notes. Okay. Take it one hand at a time, make sure we got the hands under control. Right hand is here. The right hand is not moving around. You don't need any other finger numbers. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So much for that. Left hand, well, you get the chords. And you need to be thinking about these chords as one thing, not 3 separate notes. Just you see that pattern, you see that C chord, just play a C chord. Just lower the hand down. Try and get the notes down at the same time if you can. Here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay, that's basically what you're doing in the left hand. So put the hands together and we get this. 2, 4, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. Now take a look here between measures 2 and 3. You have quarter notes in the right hand, starting with the F in measure 2. The left hand, you're playing chords, you have to lift up for the chords. Don't lift up in the right hand. Connect that. Now lifting up here, but not there. Don't lift up in one hand just because you lifted up in the other. No, connect the right hand. Shouldn't be too hard to do if you're practicing the scales with one hand connected and one hand not connected, because that's the same feeling. Once you have the notes and rhythms figured out, and keep in mind we're only counting it at the beginning to get the rhythm. Once we know what the rhythm is, you don't count it anymore, you just feel it. You feel the pulses. And the articulation. We have accent at the beginning. Play it a little louder. Not the left hand, just the right hand. And I would connect this. See, it's a little tricky because that curved line there over the 3rd and 4th measure, is that a phrase or is that a slur? They look the same. Well, you have to play the music, and is it a musical sentence or not? Well, that's not a musical sentence. It's just connect the notes. So it's a slur. Remember with slurs, we don't always lift up before and after a slur. So I'm going to play that first line all connected. Connect. All connected. Now, to me, the first line, those 4 measures, that is a musical thought. That's a musical sentence. So I can lift up after it before I go to the second line. Like taking a breath. Then I'm going to connect all this. Then lift up. So I'm going to put in the phrasing. I'm going to lift up. And it turns out in this arrangement, the way this is printed, it's every line is a phrase. So just lift up at the end of the line. The accents are playing a little louder. Okay. Then the dynamics, F, forte at the beginning, with accents that makes those notes very loud in the right hand. The left hand needs to be a little in the background. Don't play in the same, because that just drowns it out. Now this is all melody here. See, the measure 5 and 6 and all that, that's all melody, so it needs to sound like one hand played the whole thing. So it's all the same. So the piece is basically loud. Then the speed, a march. 1, 2, left, right. And this is generally felt in 2. They've got it in 4/4 time, which is really, would make it way too slow. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. 2. Now that's not bad at this level. If you want to play it that fast, that's fine. But generally it's felt in 2. With a half note, you feel that. Left, right, left, right, left, right. That's really more like how it typically would be played. But as I said, you can take it a lot slower than that if you want to. Find the hardest part in it. How fast can you play that accurately? Like measures 13 and 14. How fast can you play that accurately? And that'll be your speed. Let's play it together slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm going to play both hands about the same. I want you to hear everything. So I'll give us 4 counts, and just play with me one hand at a time if you need to. Now this is after you've learned it. Don't try and learn it in the play with me. Learn it first, and then come back to the video and play it along. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 4, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 4. 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4.